One final stage. One last shot at history. Zidane was written off. Ronaldo was left for dead, but somehow, both came back to own the biggest tournament on earth. If you have ever been counted out, this story is yours. Subscribe for more stories that hit different. There is a version of history where neither of them makes it. A version where Zinedine Zidane never lifts that trophy because he gets sent off and his team falls apart without him. A version where Ronaldo Luis Nazario Rio de Lima never plays the 2002 World Cup final because a mysterious medical crisis destroys him the night before the biggest match of his life. Both of those darker versions almost happened, and the fact that they did not is the reason we are still talking about these two men today. Let us go back to the beginning, because to understand how extraordinary their comebacks were, you have to understand how far each of them had fallen. Zinedine Zidane grew up in a tough neighborhood in Marseille, France. His family had immigrated from Algeria and life was not easy, but from the moment he touched a football, something was different. The way he moved with the ball, slow, almost lazy on the surface, but completely unstoppable underneath. Nobody had ever seen anything like it. By the time 1998 arrived, Zidane was already one of the best players on earth. France was hosting the World Cup. The pressure on the national team was enormous. An entire country was watching, and Zidane, their most gifted player, was expected to lead them all the way. But then it happened. In the group stage against Saudi Arabia, Zidane stamped on an opponent. It was reckless, it was unnecessary, and the referee saw it. Red card, suspension. Just like that, the most important player on the French team was gone for 2 matches. France struggled without him. They scraped through, and the whole country held its breath, wondering if Zidane had just destroyed their dream before it even started. He had not. He came back, and when he came back, he did not just play well. He did something that nobody in the history of the World Cup final had ever done before him. He scored twice with his head in a final. 2 goals, both headers, against Brazil, the greatest footballing nation on earth. Zidane, a man who had been suspended, criticized, and nearly cast aside, walked onto that pitch and delivered the performance of his life. France won 3-0. Zidane was crowned a national hero. But there is a part of this story that most people forget. The reception he got when he came home was not just about football. In France in 1998, there were serious tensions around identity, immigration, and belonging. And here was this son of Algerian immigrants, wearing the blue jersey of France, carrying an entire nation on his shoulders and winning. His face was projected onto the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, the most recognizable monument in France, bearing his image. That meant more than a trophy. That was a statement. Now let us cross to the other story, because what Ronaldo went through in 2002 was an entirely different kind of battle. Ronaldo Luis Nazario Rio de Lima had been the best player in the world since he was a teenager. At the 1994 World Cup, he was barely 17 years old and already part of Brazil's squad. In 1998, at just 21, he was the superstar everyone expected to win the tournament almost single-handedly. But the 1998 final became one of the most haunting nights in football history. The night before the match, something happened to Ronaldo. He had a convulsive episode, a seizure, in his hotel room. His teammates found him. He was rushed to hospital. For hours, nobody knew if he would even be able to play. The Brazilian Football Confederation later gave confusing and contradictory statements about what exactly happened. Some said he was fine. Some said he nearly did not make the lineup. His name disappeared from the team sheet, then reappeared in the hours before kickoff. He played, but he was not himself. Brazil lost 3-0 to France, the same France that Zidane had just conquered. And after that night, the questions started. The whispers started. Was Ronaldo finished? Was he too fragile? Would he ever be the same? The years that followed were brutal. Ronaldo battled serious knee injuries, not once, not twice, but 3 separate devastating injuries that threatened to end his career entirely. He spent more time in hospitals and rehabilitation centers than on football pitches. There were moments when doctors genuinely told him he might never play professional football again. Most athletes would have quit. Most people would have walked away. Ronaldo did not. He fought back. Slowly, painfully, with setbacks that would have broken the spirit of almost any human being on earth. And by 2002, he had made it back onto the Brazilian national team. But nobody truly believed in him anymore, not the way they used to. He had been away too long. He had lost too much time. His body had been through too much. When Brazil arrived at the 2002 World Cup in Japan and South Korea, Ronaldo was there. But he was treated more like a symbol of the past than a weapon for the future. Then the tournament began, and something shifted inside him. Goal by goal, match by match, Ronaldo started looking like himself again. No, not just like himself. He started looking like the best version of himself. A player reborn, a man who had stared into the abyss and come back with something extra that could not be explained. He reached the final, and in that final, against Germany, Ronaldo scored twice, 2 goals in the World Cup final. After everything, after the seizure in 1998, after 3 knee surgeries, after years of doubt and pain and rehabilitation and whispers that he was done, he ran to the corner flag, and the entire world understood in that moment that they were watching something that went beyond football. Brazil won 2-0. Ronaldo finished the tournament as the top scorer with 8 goals. He was the best player in the world again. Now here is the question this video is really asking: who rewrote their story more? Zidane came back from a suspension and delivered a legendary final performance on home soil, becoming a symbol of something far larger than sport. His story was about redemption, identity, and belonging. Ronaldo came back from a medical crisis, 3 career-threatening injuries, and years of public doubt to win the World Cup and the Golden Boot as the tournament's leading scorer. His story was about survival, resilience, and defying every limit the human body can impose on a person. Both of them stood in the wreckage of what could have been the end of their stories. Both of them rebuilt. Both of them won. But there is a difference in the nature of what they overcame. Zidane's obstacle was external, a moment of poor judgment, a punishment, a return to prove himself. Ronaldo's obstacle was internal, his own body, his own nervous system, his own physical survival. Zidane rewrote a chapter. Ronaldo rewrote the entire book. Years later, when people talk about the greatest World Cup performances of all time, both names always appear. Zidane 1998, Ronaldo 2002. 2 tour legends, 2 completely different kinds of greatness. But what connects them is something more powerful than statistics or trophies or records. It is the refusal to accept the story that was being written for them. Zidane was supposed to be the suspended player who cost France the tournament. He became the man whose face was projected onto the Arc de Triomphe. Ronaldo was supposed to be the fallen superstar who never fully recovered. He became the top scorer in the World Cup that finally gave Brazil its 5th title. History does not remember the version of events that almost happened. History remembers what people did when the moment came, and in those 2 moments, Paris 1998 and Yokohama 2002, 2 men decided that their story was not over. It had only just begun. If this story moved you, if you felt something watching 2 men refuse to be finished, then this channel is exactly where you need to be. We do not just cover football, we cover the stories inside the sport that most people never slow down long enough to see. The pain behind the trophies, the doubt behind the genius, the human beings behind the legends. Every single week, we bring you a new story built exactly like this one. Deep, honest, cinematic, and real. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a release. And if this video meant something to you, share it with one person who loves football the way we do, because the next story is already waiting. And trust us, you do not want to miss it.